DG Dwivedi, for joining us today and sharing that insight. Thank you very much. Now we move the focus on to Middle East. Australian police have said that a man accused of opening fire at a Jewish event on Sydney's Bondi Beach now faces 59 charges, including terrorism offences. 15 people were killed in Sunday's attack, the deadliest mass shooting in Australia in nearly 3 decades. The alleged gunman was shot dead by police at the scene. The parents of 10-year-old Matilda, the youngest victim of the Bondi shooting, have reacted. Let's listen in.
Like, she's running around happy, and then second what I see before my eyes is she's lying on the ground, and I just can't explain how it happened. And just, we heard some like
The shots.
the shots, but we thought maybe it's just someone decided, just bad joke, like, you know, just
or fireworks or something.
Fireworks, something like, yes, like, and my first reaction was, who can do that next to this event? So because all Jewish community is traumatized, but this sounds like like you. Separated from Matilda because my little one came to me just before it happened, and she asked me, "Mom, can we go to 90 videos again?" And I said, "Listen, there is a long line there. Me and Dad very tired. We will sit here on the chair, and you can go and stay in line, and we will join you when line is closer." And she went to her sister, and then they changed plans. They decided just to go to pet animals, and they told Michael that they go there, but I wasn't aware. So when he said it's shooting, I just ran where 90s cinema.
I wrapped my shirt and I was talking to her because she was
She was in
she
shock.
She was telling me that it's hard to breathe, and I was holding her, and I was like, calm down, please. I was trying to pull her out, but the shooting would just not stop. We were looking where the cops were. There were no cops.
Australian police have said that a man accused of opening fire at a Jewish event in Sydney's Bondi Beach now faces 59 charges, including terrorism offences. 15 people were killed in Sunday's attack, the deadliest mass shooting in Australia in nearly 3 decades. The alleged gunman was shot dead by police at the scene. Australian police have said that a man accused of opening fire at a Jewish event on Sydney's Bondi Beach now faces 59 charges, including of terrorism offences. 15 people were killed on Sunday's attack, the deadliest mass shooting in Australia in nearly 3 decades. The alleged gunman was shot dead by the police at the scene. Australian police say a man accused of opening fire at a Jewish event on Sydney's Bondi Beach now faces 59 charges, including terrorism offenses. 15 people were killed on Sunday's attack, the deadliest mass shooting in Australia in nearly 3 decades. The alleged gunman was shot dead by police at the scene. Now for this discussion, we welcome Mr. Elon Levi. He's a former Israeli government spokesperson, joins us live from Tel Aviv. Thank you very much for joining us. Welcome to NewsX World. Mr. Elon, thank you. Unfortunately, this is not the first attack on a synagogue or anti-Semitism attack this year, especially in Australia or in Western nations. How could have this been prevented? As you know, there were many calls to watch out for these kind of events, especially be cautious around these kind of events, especially around Jewish events this year. What should leaders do more to protect such events now?
You're right that this was not the first attack on Jewish targets. In fact, the October 7th massacre inspired jihadists and extremists around the world to attack Jews all around the planet. This is the fourth deadly attack on Jews outside Israel this year. The last was a deadly terror attack by a jihadist at a synagogue in Manchester in September 2025. The Bondi Beach massacre was a security failure at multiple levels. Let's start with the fact that there were only 2 policemen at the scene for 1,000 people who had been warning the Australian government for years that they were a target. There have been so many attacks on Australian Jewish targets, and those concerns were clearly not taken seriously if there were only 2 policemen at the door. But you know, if there are, the question of the police presence is the last resort, the last line of security. The real question is how to stop these attacks at all. And the fact is, we have seen years of vicious incitement and hate speech against Jews and Israelis all around the world, including protests in Australia calling for terrorism. We've seen marches of people calling globalize the Intifada. The Intifada was a wave of terror attacks in Israel 20 years ago. Intifada means kill Jews wherever you find them. Globalize it means bring that to Australia. And that's exactly what these 2 ISIS terrorists did on Sunday.
Mr. Elon, do you have any do you have any proof that they were ISIS?
That is what is being reported now in the Australian media, I believe, on the basis of statements from the Australian police.
Okay.
That they'd pledged allegiance to Islamic State.
Okay, and now how should Australian leaders, in this case, address the protection of targeted communities, such as the Jewish community?
Sticking its head in the sand and doesn't understand the extent or seriousness of growing anti-Semitism in Australia. The Australian government appointed a special envoy for combating anti-Semitism. She's written a report with recommendations, and the Australian government has not adopted it yet. She spoke at a Knesset hearing yesterday. I was in the Israeli parliament yesterday for an emergency hearing about anti-Semitism in Australia, and she called on the Australian government to adopt her report with detailed recommendations for how to fight anti-Semitism in Australia. So Australia needs to get serious about the growing racism and extremism in its own country, and also look at how foreign state actors are trying to destabilize Australia. Let's remember, just a few months ago, Australia expelled the Iranian ambassador after it found that Iran was responsible for the firebombing of a synagogue. It also banned the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the Iranian Revolutionary Guards, describing them as a terrorist organization. And so Australia needs to work, I think, more closely with partners around the world to take seriously the threat of foreign-based jihad attacks in Australia, as well as the homegrown extremism, which is a very real problem now.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for highlighting this, Mr. Levi. Please stay with us as we come back to you for our next discussion as well. Now, moving on to Middle East, the Israeli Defense Forces have confirmed a drone strike in southern Lebanon that has killed a Hezbollah operative near Taybeh. The operative involved in the intelligence gathering on Israeli forces and rebuilding Hezbollah infrastructure violated ceasefire understandings between Israel and Lebanon, according to the IDF. This follows rising concerns about a potential large-scale Israeli military operation in Lebanon as Israel continues its airstrikes on Hezbollah targets despite the truce brokered in November of 2024. Lebanese officials have intensified diplomatic efforts to prevent further escalation, with the Lebanese army's weapons control phase almost completed. Tensions remain high as Israel critiques Lebanon's failure to disarm Hezbollah while continuing its airstrikes, resulting in at least 335 deaths in Lebanon since the ceasefire last year. Now, for this discussion, we welcome back Mr. Elon Levi. He's a former Israeli government spokesperson, joins us live from Tel Aviv. Thank you very much, Mr. Levi, for staying with us. Now, looking at this, what more can you tell us about the ongoing situation between Lebanon and Israel?
Well, the ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah is fragile because Hezbollah has never accepted it. The truce says that Hezbollah must be disarmed. It can have no presence anywhere near the Israeli border. Lebanon is required to dismantle Hezbollah, and they've said they want to dismantle Hezbollah. But Iran's proxy army in Lebanon is not disarming, it is rearming. It has re-established its supply routes through Syria and through the sea. It is trying to rebuild its terrorist army, rebuild its missiles, and it's clear that the Lebanese army is just too weak to dismantle Hezbollah and take its guns off it. And Israel is saying, we are not going to allow this terrorist army that wanted to invade Israel before October 7th, that fired thousands of missiles at Israeli towns. We are not going to allow them to rebuild their forces in flagrant violation of international law, in flagrant violation of the ceasefire that says that Hezbollah must be completely dismantled. So what we need now is massive global pressure to make sure that Hezbollah is disarmed, that it's dismantled, and that we can clear that obstacle, so hopefully there can be peace between Israel and Lebanon without an Iranian proxy army in the middle trying to drag the two countries into war again.
With that, I would like to thank Mr. Elon Levi for joining us today and sharing that insight throughout our news. Thank you very much. Now we move on to Africa. Families in Guinea are living with anger